Welcome to the Good News Show, the Good News Show where there's nothing but good news. I'm your host, Professor Grant Schofield, and the Good News Show is brought to you by PreKure, prekure.com, where prevention is cure. Now, the Good News Show is a response to mainstream media where it seems to be full of bad news and no tools for having a happy and healthy life. And that's what we're about here, tools for a happy life, tools to help yourself and then help others. In breaking news across Australia and New Zealand, there is still increasing reports of people getting outside and getting active and getting fit, especially in the states and territories where there are lockdowns. In New Zealand over the weekend, despite widespread mainstream media predictions of bad weather, the sun in fact was shining, and there were reports everywhere of people getting outside and understanding the idea that fitness is medicine. This societal trend is something that's really exciting us at the Good News Show, and it's good to see. There have, however, been reports across Australia and New Zealand from children about boredom.
This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone?
Widespread boredom. And we're going to cross now live to our child health behaviour expert, Danny Schofield. I'll just switch him in and we'll see what he's got to say about that. Hi, Danny. It's good to see you there. There have been widespread reports of new cases of children becoming bored across Australia and New Zealand, especially those states and territories where there's been lockdowns. Can you comment on this?
Personally, I would believe it's parents taking out entertainment, phones and PS4s, etc.
So that's what you're hearing out there on the street and amongst your friends, Danny, is that in fact the boredom is not in fact a natural state that kids are supposed to be in, and that's what they like, but in fact it's a problem of lack of screen time.
Yes, it is. All your fault, Dan.
Okay, well that's interesting. There's also been some widespread reports of kids across Australia and New Zealand reporting, despite what their parents think is incorrect, that their houses have no food.
Oh, that's just our house, Dan.
Okay, what I'm seeing in a live cross at the moment, Danny, is in fact there's a whole bowl of fruit right behind you. What do you make of that? Have you seen that?
Well, I haven't exactly seen that, but I don't have much to say to that.
Okay, we did have some treat fruit in the house. A couple of days ago, your mother bought a packet of biscuits and hid them in the top shelf. Maybe you could go and try one of those.
I think I might have ate them. Were they the Afghan biscuits?
Oh, well, yeah, that was the packet. You've eaten the whole packet.
Maybe.
I don't think we can call them Afghan biscuits, son, either in the current climate. But I think they're now known as kindness biscuits, and I think we're going to go with that.
Okay.
Is there anything else to report out there that you're seeing in your role as a child behaviour expert?
Well, many children are bored and put me on the spot here.
Bored and hungry.
Yes, very much.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Thanks for your expert comments there. We'll have something more to say about that in a moment.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Okay, well, there's child health expert Danny Schofield, and there's a number of items there that I think we should comment on. This idea of boredom, of course, if you're a parent, the good news is that that's a natural state for children. That's how they're supposed to be. Boredom is a good thing. That's what allows creativity. And in fact, this excessive screen time across the countries might be good for keeping them quiet, but is actually not good for their brain, cognitive development, and it ruins their sleep quantity and quality. So some rules around device use, even in these times across the states and territories in Australia and New Zealand lockdown, is a good idea, isn't it? The second thing there is the idea of food and child health. And I think the elephant in the room segment today, yes, the large grey mammal with the trunk in the room cited here is that our children are eating more ultra-processed junk food than ever before. And in fact, the major cost to our healthcare system for our children is having to anaesthetize young children to pull out and fix rotten teeth from a poor diet. So if we wanted to do something serious about the health of our children in Australia and New Zealand, then the good news is we can see what those targets are and we can act immediately. And the answer is less junk food. And by junk food, we mean ultra-processed food, food in a packet, food with a label, food that was never recently clearly alive in nature is what that is. And that is causing harm. And the good news is we can fix that easily. Now, we're now going to move to the weather section. And the weather, well, there's a complex range of ridges and troughs and highs and lows across Australia and New Zealand. I've got no idea what they're going to do. And in actual fact, we're going to do a weather review from the weekend because in New Zealand, it was predicted for thunderstorms, bad weather, nothing but rain, doom and gloom the whole weekend. And I know for a fact that that didn't eventuate much at all. It rained a bit overnight across New Zealand and a little bit during the day, but most people were able to get out there and enjoy the sunshine. Why we're interested in sunshine in particular is because of the sunshine vitamin D. So you can get this from food, you can take it in capsules, but by far and away, the most natural way to get vitamin D into your system is to expose your skin to sun. And the more skin, the better. I'm not suggesting you run around naked, but skin exposure to sun helps you generate vitamin D. Vitamin D is in fact not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone. And it's one of its key uses. It helps get glucose across the cell wall. So it helps with glucose transport, and therefore it induces insulin sensitivity. And so this is one of the major reasons that vitamin D is so important for metabolic health, including brain health, is that it helps reduce the inflammatory and oxidative stress effects from food and other stresses. It helps remove glucose, sugar from the system faster. So get out there, get your vitamin D. The forecast coming up in the next couple of days, again, in New Zealand, there's always a chance of fine weather. So that's the good news. And in Australia, there is almost certainly a chance of fine weather everywhere except for Tasmania, where there's still a chance of fine weather. And remember the motto on the Good News Show, the weather's like your life. There's always blue sky there, but sometimes it's hidden by grey clouds, and sometimes by rain, and sometimes by thunderstorms. But whatever's happening in the weather or your life, you can get out there and move amongst it. And behind those clouds, there's always some blue sky, and the blue sky always comes back. That's the Good News Show for today. If you've got any good news to share, please email us at goodnews@prekure.com, and we may cross to you live or mention you as a location of interest. Good night.